Welcome back! Just as a reminder, this short online pre-departure orientation is designed to cover 3 topics. The first video discusses study abroad and AUI's mission, reminding you how your individual experience fits into a larger vision for AUI. This second video discusses practical aspects of the transition to and life at your host institution. The third and last video discusses returning to AUI. This video will take on some aspects of the adjustments back as well as some key policies and procedures that you don't want to ignore. Let's now turn to your preparation for study abroad. There are a number of logistical things that you should ensure that you have completed. First, be sure that you have followed all of AUI study abroad procedures. This include the pre-approval of class, commitment forms, and so on. Some programs have different requirements, including the possible payment of fees, so please pay close attention to these aspects. Although not all study abroad programs require visa, for those that do, getting a visa can be the most stressful aspect of studying abroad. Our best advice in this process is to start the application well in advance of your travel dates and follow the process closely. This is fundamentally your responsibility, but please seek assistance if you are encountering different and significant difficulties. In terms of your host institution, please pay close attention to all the procedures for acceptance and travel. Please read your email carefully and be aware that your host institution may assign you an email address within their system. Be sure to monitor all your communications closely and ask for assistance if things are not clear. One of the most stressful aspects of travel can be getting from the airport in a new place to where one will stay for the first days. In this situation, you are in a new country, carrying perhaps a number of bags, and are uncertain about where to go and how to get there. Some, but not all, host institutions help students with their aspects by arranging travel from the airport to campus, dormitory students will live. Read their travel directions carefully. If this is the case, please be sure to communicate all your travel times to the study abroad institutions and do your best to understand how you will be picked up. Some study abroad institutions will use Facebook or WhatsApp or other means to communicate with you. Do your best to connect through these means as you travel. In addition, prepare a plan B for you if your flight is cancelled or delayed. Overall, plan ahead, be patient, and be prepared for travel challenges such as delayed flights, lost luggage, and so on. These situations are all common and most study abroad institutions have experienced them before. Just be sure to communicate clearly so that both you and the study abroad institution are on the same page. We have a few practical things for you to say about packing. First, make a list of things to pack and have somebody you trust review the list with you. This can help reduce some anxiety and ensure you don't forget something. Then, pack a few days before you leave just so you don't feel rushed. A critical point is to remember to keep your essential documents such as your passport and visas and things like your credit cards and money on your person and not in a checked bag. Also, put your name and identifying information on and in all your bags. This will help them identify it if lost. Avoid the urge to overpack and be sure to know what sorts of weather to expect, but also remember that clothing and most other items can be purchased. Yes, you don't want to buy many unnecessary things, but simply consider what you would need to feel comfortable when you arrive and what might be more easily obtained after you arrive. Attending your health while on study abroad is essential. Before you travel, it might be wise to visit a medical professional to see if you might need to take any special precautions for the place you are traveling to. In some situations, this might be quite significant. For example, you might need a vaccine booster or to take some specific medications. This is especially important if you need to provide your immunization records. In addition, if you have one or more medical conditions that require special medications, unless you have some other plan to procure these medications while on study abroad, please be sure to take a supply of them that would last the duration of your trip. Finally, be sure to have all your health and immunization forms with you. This may be necessary in many situations, and in general, it is a good idea to have a copy of your health record with you when you travel. Traveling abroad brings enhanced risks to health. Thus, students are generally required to maintain not only AUI's insurance, but to purchase insurance in the study abroad country. In many countries, this can be a significant cost that you should be aware of before leaving, whereas in others, it might be quite affordable, even free. So be aware of these distinctions and know what the different coverages you have offered. We hope that you will arrive at your study abroad institutions without any issues. When you arrive, it's possible and even likely that your study abroad institution will have an orientation program for you. Perhaps you will even have an online pre-departure orientation like this one. If this is the case, be sure to attend any and all online or in-person sessions so that you are aware of what to expect and what is expected of you. Although there are many aspects here, we want to focus mainly on the academic and students' conduct aspects. In terms of academics, we are sure that you have specific courses in mind that you want to take. Ideally, you would have had a chance to register for this in advance. However, please remember that classes at any institution often change. Thus, you will need to be flexible in your course selection and perhaps may need to seek approval from AUI for any classes you did not pre-approve. Remember as well that only the credits transfer to AUI, not the grades, but you must pass the classes to have them transfer. Thus, be aware of the pass-fail policies at the study abroad institution. When it comes to students' conduct, we simply remind you that the same rules of the institution and the country apply to you as a visiting student. Be sure that you know what these are so that you avoid any issues. Beyond this, please remember that you are an official ambassador of AUI abroad, and your actions reflect not only you, but AUI as an entity and institution. In more practical matters, remember that housing and food arrangements vary widely by study abroad institution. If you are paying for housing and the meal plan, be sure to know how the system works. In terms of housing, this might include check-in, check-out dates, curfews, and visitation policies. In turn, meals may be charged on an item basis such as AUI or maybe per meal. If you feel that you are not receiving services you are entitled to, please contact your advisor first and then us. Money can also be stressful. Before you leave, be sure to have a plan to either exchange money before you leave, bring and exchange it upon arrival, withdraw it from an ATM or some other plan. Financial services constantly evolving, so have a plan B as well as in this area. Also, do some research about any fees you may have to pay and plan accordingly. Safety and the security is a fundamental concern for us. At all times, whether on campus or off, be conscious and diligent. Be prepared by carrying the emergency contacts information for the university and also how to engage emergency services in the country. When you travel, let people know, especially the appropriate people at the host institution know, in addition to trusted friends and colleagues. It is also a good idea to register your presence in the country with the embassy or consulate, so that in a difficult situation they can intervene. While on a study abroad, you will likely experience a variety of emotions, whether you have traveled much or little in your life. Each place and experience brings new challenges and joys as you adapt. Moreover, you will likely experience many different cycles of these emotions based on your personality and experience there. Thus, it is important for you to think about the importance of self-care while on a study abroad. This is a deeply personal matter, but our basic advice is for you to be aware of and monitor your feelings, perhaps through a journal or other means. As this evolves, be sure to use available support services, particularly if you are starting to feel depressed or overly anxious. Don't ignore feelings or situations as well. It's better to seek some support early rather than allow something to become a crisis. If you are unsure how to access these services, ask the study abroad institution for help and even follow up with us if you need additional support. In a similar way, study abroad can be a great way to document and share your experience. Many people share widely on social media, creates websites or other means of sharing information. However, please do this carefully and consider you want your posts or blogs to be public or private. Both have their pros and cons, and the important thing is to be aware of what you are doing and to take mindful precautions. Thank you for your attention to this video. The next video will discuss aspects of returning to AUI. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us in the Office of International Programs. And thank you.